What is going on, guys? It's Gospel Gamer here. We are back on Chaos Child. We're just in a murder scene, and there's a guy on the bed from the looks of things, but we're not quite sure why. Takuru, the door went open! Sarika's voice sounded like it was far away. I ran back to the entrance and slammed myself into the door. It wasn't opening. It wasn't opening. Why won't it open? I don't know! I don't know even. Sarika yelled back at me. Why? Why? Sarika screamed as she slammed against the door. I helped to try to batter it down. But it didn't work. It was like trying to batter down a wall. Suddenly I heard a knock at the door. I reflexively jumped away without thinking. Knock, 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 knock. It was coming from this door. The knocking was rhythmic and constant. What? It's just a knock at the door. But my whole body started to shake. Someone was on the other side of the door. Someone was knocking. It definitely wasn't the police. I felt as if my sanity were boiling away, melting out from the soles of my feet on upward. No, no. Don't open that door. Right, go out the back. Let's use the window. I grabbed Sarika's hand and ran to the back of the room. And I fell silent at what I saw. Huh? No! No! What was that? The curtain was open. There was a man there sitting. No, he was moving slowly. The bed was moving in time with the sound of the music box. An eerie sound came from the wire wrapped around his neck. The wire was hanging down from the ceiling, choking him. His face was all puffed up in a colour I'd never seen before. His pants were wet and the stain extended to the bed itself. The smell of piss and shit hung in my nose. He wasn't alive, he was dead. What the hell is this? Why was he dead? Did he suffocate? Why was the curtain open? And what the hell was he doing? Why was he dead? My right hand moved without me realising it. Huh? I needed to use the window to escape, but I pointed my phone's camera at the body instead. Takuru, we need to get out of here! The body spun slowly. Each time it went around, the wire made an awful sound and dug deeper into his neck. It dug so deep by now that the man's neck was the size of my wrist. The skin must have been broken because it was bleeding a little. What am I doing? Sarika was right next to me, but her voice sounded far away like she was talking through a telephone. I needed to get out of here. But I couldn't stop the filming. Why was I doing this? Why was he dead? The wire dug deeper and deeper into his neck without waiting for me to come up with an answer. The body turned away from me. I could see the back of his neck. The flesh around the wire was swollen red and black. I heard a muffled sounds, like something hard snapping out inside of a bag. Oh, his head's come off. The head slumped just a little. There goes his neck. Fucking hell. His neck had just broken. That must have been the sound of a neck breaking. Takuru, let's get out of here! I could hear Sarika's voice. Get out of here? Get out of here? That's right, I need to get out of here. My body moved as I heard another sound. I spun around. What the fuck? I screamed. And then I heard something from behind me. I don't know what I did, but the next thing I knew, my whole field of vision had turned red. Then I felt something like a ball hit me. Before I could understand what it was, everything faded to black. Well, okay, that seems cool. September 30th, 2015, Wednesday. Okay, I don't feel unsettled at all. What the fuck was that? midnight. What? Shinjo, we managed to ID the victim from his possessions in the security cameras. His name is Hironori Kikita. Fuck me. 22 years old, a Shibuya resident with a part-time marketing job at Koshin. A part-timer at Koshin? Any lovers? None. No roommate either. He lives alone, it seems. Shit. Shinjo cursed. If he was single and not in a relationship, it would take time to figure out his private life. And Koshin was one of the companies that had profited the most from recovery projects in the recent years. Part-timer or not, if he worked there, he was probably pretty busy. It was possible that his co-workers knew just his name and nothing else about him. About who he was, sorry, on the outside of work. Shinjo, what do you tell the media? What do we tell the media? Kayoma TV and Nikoniya's net reporters are refusing to leave. And those two kids we found at the scene, who said they're with Hekiho Newspaper Club, they've calmed down but they're still not making a lot of sense. The other girl doesn't have anything that would tell us who she is. We're checking if she's a friend or relative of Kikita's, but no, like yet she's refusing to say anything. Also, forensics want to know. Hey, you can't just... This is Watabi from Nikoniya News. Excuse me, what's going on here? Get out, you can't come in without permission. Just a brief comment. A brief comment is all I need. Shinjo's men physically dragged the reporter out of the room. He had to stop himself from putting his hands to his head and moaning. He couldn't let his men see him acting weak. Shinjo had been with the Police HQ Section 1 for less than 7 years. He didn't get along with his superiors, but he managed to beg his way into being in charge of this case. Maybe this was his way of avenging the death of an older detective who he admired. Once we're done looking at the window frame, make sure it can't be seen from the outside. There is no telling what those net reporters will do. Yes, sir. I'll talk to forensics myself. Oh, and put more manpower into checking his connections at work. I will tell the bosses. Yes, sir. What about those kids? I'll handle them too. Get up to it. Yes, sir. His men raced out of the room. They never had a case of this before, and they were probably pretty excited. So was Shinjo, to be honest. The whole thing was such a mess that he didn't even know where to begin, but his detective's instincts were screaming at him to start doing the work needed to find the killer. Okay.
Yosh.
Beep, 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 beep. Hello, this is Trustworthy Investigation Company Frisia. It's good when Wizards on the first ring, like always. It's me. Oh, Shinjo, you're late. I thought you'd be contacting me earlier.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Shinjo apologized without thinking, and for no clear reason. He always felt like a naughty child when he spoke to the CEO, who happened to be a woman. You know why you're so exhausted? It's because you're taking this so seriously. You should relax a bit like they did. I've got no intention of copying their habits. You're so serious, aren't you? If you keep on thinking that's a virtue, you're going to have a bad time of it one day. Momose, there's something I wanted to talk to you about. Shinjo cut her off because she could continue her lecture and gave her a brief description of the scene. This was a violation of the rules, but the only way to solve this crazy case was to be a little bit crazy yourself. That was the first thing he learned from that older detective. So this is a murder or suicide? Momose asked a question after he described the situation. She cut to the heart of the problem. We're not sure right now. The hotel had gotten suspicious when Kikita had never come down after checkout time. When more than 10 calls to his room went unanswered, they contacted the police. 2 officers as well as someone from the hotel had gone into the room and found the body and an unconscious girl. 1 officer stayed at the scene to keep it secure and the other searched the hotel to make sure it was safe. During the search, he'd forgotten to lock the employee entrance to the back near the stairs. That was how the 2 students from Hekiho had gotten in. Shortly after she'd left the room, the girl woke up and started strangling the officer who'd stayed. He'd hit his head on the edge of the glass window and knocked himself out. He was going to be fine, but he'd be out cold until backup arrived. When backup got there, they found the girl unconscious on the floor. A boy from Hekiho was passed out on the floor too. The other girl from Hekiho was throwing up, also on the floor. Kikita's cause of death was asphyxia via strangulation. The wire around his neck was the kind used at construction sites. It had been hung in an X pattern from the lights on the ceiling. It had been sitting on the bed as it rotated. That's why there was so much pressure on his neck that finally his head had been severed. From the estimated time of death, Kikita had passed away before the police had even been contacted. The body on the bed kept spinning in time to the music, one rotation every 2 minutes. In the end, the man's head had been cut off completely. The problem was the girl in the room. There was no indication that she'd ever touched Kikita. There were no fingerprints or any other signs that she'd touched Kikita's body, the bed, or the wire. The only things they found under her fingernails were skin and blood from the officer she strangled. In fact, there was no indication she touched much of anything in the room. Everything they found belonged to Kikita. And according to the officer she'd strangled, when she'd attacked him, she'd clearly been in an unstable psychological state. Her eyes were bloodshot and out of focus. So what are you saying to what are you trying to say here? The guy just watched Kikita die without touching anything in the room and then started strangling a police officer while temporarily insane? I didn't mean to save that. Wait, hang on, that's the quick save button! What? I didn't know that. Okay, that saves me a lot of hassle. Shinjo scratched his head and heard... Oh my god. I can't talk. I don't know why I can't talk. Shinjo scratched his head as he heard her sum up the situation. That was what it looked like, at least from what they knew right now. And just going by that, it sure looked like a suicide. But it was all far too strange. I see. This is a bit of a problem. What about those kids from Hekio that got inside the room? It seemed pretty traumatic for them, so at first they wouldn't say anything, but now they're starting to talk. But they're from Hekio, and that places some issues. He checked with the school and verified that they were part of the school's newspaper club. Security camera at the rear entrance had seen them coming in, which matched to their testimony. But he didn't know what to make of their testimony, that the door had opened on its own, or that someone else had tried to come into the room. The door was equipped with an automatic lock, and the only person inside the room could have opened it was that girl. There was no sign of her fingerprints on the door, and the security camera in the hallway showed no signs of anyone trying to go in. In any event, it was extremely rare for a civilian to see a dead body outside of a funeral. And in an unstable mental state, there was extremely easy to imagine things, or just outright be mistaken about what was going on. If they turned out to not have any relationship to Kikita or the girl, he planned on letting them off with a stern warning. Obviously, is the girl who's in the room, but she's not talking. She's probably going to be part of the psychiatric hold at this rate, right?
Hi.
Yeah, but that would slow down the investigation a lot, so I'd rather not go down that route. Got it. Just give me some information spread around. Given your position is probably going to be pretty rough for you, so be okay. Be ready, okay? I'll call back in 3 minutes. Okay, thanks. I appreciate it. Shinjo went to hang up the phone. Oh, wait. Yeah? Actually, I wanted you to do something for me. I'm sure it'd be a big help for you, too. Can you do that? So it's basically an order then, Shinjo thought to himself. What is it? One of my kids knows more about this than I do, and they say they can see the crime scene personally. Can you help them out? You want me to let an outsider into a crime scene? It's always outsiders who'll give you the hints you need most to solve the case. After all, I'm an outsider too, she continues. I'm going to end the episode here. If you like this video, don't forget to leave a like in the section below. If you want to see more of this, and do subscribe to the channel as I upload every day. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.